For this drawing, you will need your different kinds of charcoal, vine or willow, compressed, and charcoal pastel, erasers, which you can cut in half so that you can keep a pencil drawing use separate from the charcoal drawing use, because charcoal is a messy media, and shammy material, which can be an old torn up t-shirt will work well, napkins will work okay, or old socks are good. Begin by finding your vine or willow charcoal and turning it on its side. You may have pieces of all shapes and sizes, and if they are long, twisty, and thin, you can break some in half to make them easier to handle. Vine charcoal is soft and easy to blend, but also it rubs off easily and generally has a lesser range of value, possibly only up through a kind of mid-gray or a darker gray sometimes. Besides the difference in value, both in the initial lightness or darkness you might see and in what sticks to the page, those different thicknesses generally correspond to a difference in the degree of softness of, again, what is generally a soft charcoal media, and also may differ in warmth or coolness. To follow this demonstration, you will fill the left side of the page as I am doing here, using 2 or 3 different pieces to create these blocks that will situate side by side. We're working in a tabletop environment rather than on an easel or incline to prepare the toned page in this way. So at home you will want to have newspaper underneath so you can shake off the dust and eraser shavings later on. I'll speed up the video so that we can see this fill in. Again, you don't need to be too fine about this. And then move to the next step. Once I have an area of tone or dark value filling one side of the page, I'll try to work it into the page with my torn t-shirt chamois material. This takes some of the excess dust off the top and works the material into the page. Manipulating the material with your fingers can give you some finer control and sensitivity in your work also. You'll see me rub the surface first with the chamois and then just with my fingertips. And what you're trying to do is really just sort of push the material into the page and start to kind of also at the same time lifting some of that excess dust off. And if you haven't used charcoal before, you're also just sort of getting a feel for how that tone is pushed around. You'll see out at the edges you can sort of really almost draw with the chamois itself to sort of push a mark of dark material up around the edges. I'll speed up the video so that we can kind of, again, see this additive subtractive process. I can sort of put down more material. You can work more material over the top and spread it around again to even out the surface value further. This layering, working in layers, is often more effective than trying to do it all at once. And while you're getting acquainted with the material, just pushing it around, and freely like this is one of the best things you can do. Now, as I've moved to the right side, you'll see a drastic change in value and texture as I've begun to draw on that side of the page. This is the charcoal pastel, a black, square, thick charcoal type material that can be combined or used separately from your other charcoal. We're going to first try its range by laying it on lightly and then changing the hand pressure and overlapping the material to darken it. And if you follow along to do this kind of workshop demo, what you're handling here is to sort of get a sense of the kind of difference you can get just through that control of pressure and that working in layers. And so as this right side develops, you can see that where the work we did on the left exaggerates a soft atmosphere, here we're emphasizing contrast and texture. You could create a whole drawing in this way, or in the contrast of these two sides. This ability to mask value quickly, this whole drawing, both parts of this demo are 20 minutes of work, and I'm actually only going to be sort of setting up the page like this in real time for 10 minutes and then drawing for a little less than 10 minutes. But you can see that it can be a very quick medium. It can be a very expressive media, not only because of the expressive character of like light and dark, but also because of the speed with which you can kind of create a kind of gesture to things. For what we'll do in our drawing here, we are going to then sort of smudge the whole surface to bring the two sides together to unify this technique of toning the page and to work the material into the page in the same way as we did with the willow charcoal. We see these can be combined, and we create this broad smoky atmosphere from which our drawing can be conjured. Some people might start such a drawing by smoothing out a middle gray ground, but I like to start from a non-neutral position. So this uneven field of gray to me already is suggestive of light and space in its transitions. So once you have this kind of modeled page with tone all around, maybe there is some variations of texture as well as lightness, but overall we have a grayed suggestive page. We're ready to begin.